welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Do We Need... Still don't need... There might be, at this point, who knows, just one glance, but do we need a cosmetic rework? Now... this is the rest of the thumbnail. It's easier to make the first slide the thumbnail because it, accurately represents the beginning. Do we actually need a cosmetic rework? Because as much as that title is clickbait, I'm willing to admit, it's also kind of true. I think we could do with one, not inherently immediately and not inherently big, but we could do with one. Disclaimer: the current customization is fine, right? Like, you can make your doors look pretty damn cool if given enough effort, and even then, most of the time, people don't really care. But it's not perfect, and I'm not even suggesting that my ideas make it perfect, but it gives you more customization than is currently there.
No, your ideas are perfect, so I agree with them.
Yeah, and obviously, unlike, I would say, the Driller's Grenade video, that if you've seen that, which you probably have, it did pretty well.
We can say that. I think we can say that with a certain level of certainty. You probably have seen the Driller's Grenade,
especially if you're subscribed. The chances are very high. But there is no big issue here that I'm here to fix. Just a couple smaller ones that I've seen people note here and there, and that we personally feel is an issue. And yeah, I'm going to be tackling those, which are such as the side says, the cluttered headwear, which I'll go into more detail with each topic.
The amount.
Yeah, like there is a lot of headwear, and it's getting a bit overwhelming to try and find which one you want in amongst all of them, and it's only going to get worse and worse because they like adding a lot more headwears. The lacking skin and hair colours. I think you've got.
By skin, we mean flesh, not armor skins.
Yeah, armor skins are actually
dwarf's actual skin.
Armor skins are actually pretty good, but dwarf skins and hair colours are very lacking. Numbers to back it up. We'll get to that. The lack of individualism. This, I think, is more of a me thing.
Requires the most elaboration too, I think.
This is more of a personal opinion that I feel like should be in the game. This is not really a thing that I've seen people talk about. But I feel like you could appreciate at least what I'm going for when we get to it. And then the final one, which really doesn't need much elaboration, the uncolorable hats. We'll get to it. But it's not much.
To put it in much more correct terms, hats that don't correspond to your armor paint job.
Yeah, the ones that are just the new ones in the past that are just white or green. Those ones, know what I'm on about.
There's plenty that already exist, like the original caps. You've got but
those
there's also the paint job version.
Yeah, which is kind of something. But once again, we'll get to that in more detail later down the road. First things first, I'm going for a different kind of format this time round. I'm going to start with my solution, right, and then explain my way backwards as to why I did what I did. And this is it, right? In theory, right, and not theory, in visually, I've doubled the amount of, options here, right? But I really haven't done that much as far as, adding stuff is concerned. They're not going to add anything new here. It's just going to diverse and give depth to the current customization.
Diversify.
Yeah. Okay. That just didn't edify. So to go into the first issue, which I think is really kind of the one that started it for me, to be honest, being the headwear clutter. Now I'm going to play a little video to kind of prove my point while giving you some stats. I did not realise it will play the audio. Oh, you have a bit of scrolling audio. As you can see, the scrolling through the headwear takes a bit, right? Max speed, it still takes a couple of seconds, which isn't ridiculous, but compared to the other things, it is quite a lot. And so I kind of counted. I wanted to see how many more headwears are there compared to the other things, and I got a top 3, right? And this is on this area of cosmetics. Third is moustaches, right? And you have 29 moustaches, which is pretty good, I think, for moustaches. That's nice and solid. Second, beards at 56, which is a pretty large jump up, and makes sense considering beards are one of the biggest cosmetics. Beards are dwarves. But compared to Headwear, which is first, at 127, not even half, right? Like,
I'm no statistician, but there's something going on here.
yeah. So there is a lot of headwears, which I think is undeniable. Which you may like. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like we need to get rid of headwears or anything, but I'm saying that having all of those be in one little slot and you have to scroll through with a tiny part of the screen is a bit annoying to deal with. But I have a solution, like with the other thing. Basically, if you could gather by the original thing, I have split apart the headwear into hair, which is just hair, something that mainly or only really consists of hair, and will be, changes varying on your hair color. Masks, which covers up your face and or your beard mainly. I think that's kind of, like sometimes it covers up some other things, but if it covers up your beard and it's a headwear, then it's a mask. Or like some other name maybe, but all these are nice 4-letter words, so I went with mask. Hat, which just the top of your head, covers up the top, doesn't touch your beard or anything like that.
As an acronym, this makes...
Thank you. And this is probably the wildest one. Eyes, which isn't inherently wild, but this one would actually be the one that requires some form of effort to implement. Like this one, the other ones are just going to be like splitting up what is currently in headwear. Meanwhile, eyes is going to have, obviously there's some already, right? Like there's infrared eyes, there's the goggles, but you also take away the goggles from other cosmetics and add them into these eye sections. So you could have these, like the evil eye and like the goggles from that on like other ones that allow eyes, which is quite a few of them.
And then the bottom half, right, if we're going to go to that level, the bottom half of the goggled head wrap, that would be like a beard.
Yeah,
and
it
then
could be.
The top
It could be
half
added
would
there.
be a hat. The top half would be a hat.
Yeah.
The full thing, if we didn't do if we didn't do the eyewear thing, the whole thing would probably be a mask. But because you're proposing that we would split it, your proposition would be that the goggled head wrap would actually split into 3 separate parts.
My proposition was simply the acquiring of the goggles from that, but really they could split the goggles and that kind of stuff into segments, which will just continue to add more options as far as dwarf cosmetic goes, without actually having new skins.
The bottom half of that as a beard would be.
It would look really nice.
That's the bandana around the mouth.
Yeah, a balaclava.
A balaclava.
Well, basically it would be a very nice cloth material over your mouth, and you'd have like a punk hair or something like that, or a cool looking hat, and it would look pretty damn cool, right? But mainly with this headwear, considering I think it was 126 headwears, this will bring it down to hair at 28, masks at 23, hats at 68, which admittedly is still the highest of all of them, but there's not much you can do about that. They really like hats, especially with like seasonal stuff. And eyes at 16, which is admittedly not a lot, but it's also not anywhere near the bottom. It's about medium as far as actual amounts done. I think it's the same as sideburns. So you get about as much eye cosmetic as sideburn cosmetic, which take that as you will, right?
Realistically, the biggest case for the eyewear item is probably just the normal goggles.
Yeah,
it's like you should be able to put your hair on top of that, and in my opinion, it's probably one of the main reasons they don't have just sunglasses in the game, just standard aviators per se, because they thought, oh no, but you're going to be bored with them all the time. Well, maybe they should change that.
Yeah, I think
we can have our sunglasses.
And then there are more fancy ones like the goggles. Like there's night visions. There's like skull caps. Like, and I'm also not just saying like it doesn't have to be goggles. It could just be eye cosmetics, because oftentimes things leave out the eye area, right? Like, so you could have like scars or some other form of cosmetic in the eye area. Point is, I think it opens up a new part of the dwarf's face that has yet to be tapped into.
Their skull.
Yeah.
Tap into their skull and give them a lobotomy.
I'm surprised there isn't actually one that's like giving them a huge hole in their head or something. But
that'd be great.
Moving on to the next section.
Glass skin.
Are skin and beard colours lacking, right? And once again, with these, they're kind of, you know, yeah, like at 10 each. Well, 11 now because they're adding one new beard color every season, which is
Actually,
a
that could
good
go up a little
step.
bit.
But, like,
Actually, we don't want it to go up. We don't want the number added to go up.
the thing is, right, is like, think about it, right? As much as it is very much appreciated that we're getting beard skins, it's just not worth adding.
skins.
Like, they shouldn't add as many like beard colors,
Hair colours.
hair colors and skin colors as the other ones, because they don't hold the same kind of like amazingness. Like, the fact that ginger is like 90 something on the pass is kind of weird.
But would you perhaps say that your sentence on screen, should they add as many leather cosmetics? No. Is that not misleading, considering your solution is actually to add more?
My solution is, look, well, I don't want them to keep just pumping out new skin, like
individual items.
Yeah, new colours that are taking up slots that could be done for other things, right? Especially considering, you know, there's so many of these obvious ones they need to cover. But what I'm proposing, which couldn't be shown, obviously, and I don't think I really went into much elaboration, and I'll do it now. But first of all, without even mentioning what I actually had planned to, each individual instance of hair should be individually colourable. I think that will lead to quite nice looking hair coloured dwarf things, and it will once again diversify and add levels to customization, especially with my plan for it is in that, as far as default colour goes, and as much as this is literally the PowerPoint colour like palette, and I do like the hexagons, but like literally every base colour is already there. You can just pick it and buy it out for like minerals and a bit of dosh, right? All of the default colours you would want are there, which also then means you could probably have a gradient from like your like hair to make it look good and stuff like that. Like, if they just added a colour wheel, they don't have to add like ginger or and like blue hair and all of that stuff to kind of fill in the gaps that they've had. They could just add all of them with relative ease. I mean, I don't know how relative ease it is, but like, you know, all of the colours are there, which could lead them to do more interesting beard colours. With like, because like rose is not something that will be covered in the base chart because its main appeal is how shiny it is, which could leave them to do more beard colours like that, like golden beard colour, or I don't know, like gritty beard. Point is, they then actually add more interesting beards colours, or like skin, you know, hair colours, skin colours, without needing to waste time on like covering the boring ones.
Could you perhaps explain to me the black and white part?
Well, because the black to white isn't actually in the colour wheel. I mean, the white is obviously, but
what would you pay for them with?
Just more currency, more money, like so no minerals, just like 10,000 coin, not probably 10,000, but I don't know. I'm thinking, you know, there'll be a varying amount of minerals and like 500 coins, current whatever they are, and then there'll be like 1,000 coins for each of the gradient of white to black, and for skin color, not white to black, but you know, white to black would be in that area.
I didn't notice that this was also for skin colors. I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, as much as it's probably not more, it's not as I wouldn't say used. I don't think you'd need an entire color wheel for your skin color, but like, if they're going to add this feature, I think they might as well add it to the skin color and have that covered as well. And I think then the golden skin color would also be like the rose, and it's a special one that they could add.
It's also not a full color spectrum, which every individual like shade, because then you just wouldn't be able to excuse making them purchasable. But I think this way, and they should be. So this works much better, where it's a large selection, but they're still relatively individual items.
Yeah.
The different shades.
So I don't know. I think it would like immediately give you all beard colors, right? Which I think is inherently nice. You know what I mean? Considering now you're restricted to the I think 4 shades of black and white and some luminous green and purple, and then like a nice red, yellow, and brown. They're the only actual reasonable ones you can use. Meanwhile, with this, you'll be able to have every simple colour. Then instead of them covering the spots they've missed, they can add interesting new beards. And with all of them, you can put a different colour for each segment of hair, which I think would just boost the amount of like looks you could have. Like, you could have a rainbow-haired dwarf, right? Like, that's with this, which, as much as that would kind of look like terrible, it's something that you could do now, which I think is with the cosmetics. You need to be able to do what you really want with what it provides, and I don't think it currently has that.
Individualize yourself.
Yes, very smooth transition there, Harry. And what with this?
I'm gonna ruin it. I'm gonna ruin the smoothness.
The third point. What do I mean by lack of individualism? Right, and this is, once again, this is going to be my personal thing that I think they should add, because it would make customization kind of like more personal. Like, and I'll explain it. No achievement-based cosmetics, right? This is what I mean by lack of individualism, and I'm going to make a couple points. Look at this dwarf. What does it tell you? Like, how do I play the game? What information do you gather by looking at him? That I played during season 1. Because I
feel like I was meant to answer that.
I don't know. Mainly they're hypothetical, but like that beard and that moustache is in season 1. I think even the helmet was in season 1. Except, I mean, you don't even inherently have that, because then you can buy them, right? So it doesn't really tell you that. This one, what does it tell you? That I bought a DLC, because I have. That's about it. That's all it really says. This one, my favourite skin, played in Halloween, and even then, I think if you just played at the end of when the game launched, you got the pumpkin head. Point is, none of these things actually tell you anything about how I play the game, just when I played the game, and if I've spent money on it, which is bad. You know, it's not a bad thing. But I feel like there's room to grow as far as the cosmetics are in that like kind of way, which is what I am gonna try and not prove, but like kind of just say how, right? This guy's here to fill space, because otherwise it looks really empty. So you can look at him; he is fun. But like, what do I mean by achievements, right?
He provide the smooch.
Like what do I how? You know, what do I mean by achievements? First of all, achievements.
Literal
right?
achievements.
Yeah, like ones like earn a silver promotion for all 4 dwarves, right? There are achievements in game that when you achieve, you get an achievement on like Steam or Xbox or whatever the PlayStation one is, and that's about it, right? That's you're done. There's milestones, which you.
Bro, I'm sorry, I'm just imagining how good a silver armor paint job would look. That's like the same as the supporter one, but silver.
Yeah. There's milestones, which is like Swarmageddon, which basically, you know, it rewards you with perk stars, which, if you know, you don't need many of them, but once again, milestones, they're tracking you completing hazards and this, so it can reward you like with them. Statistics, like in your menu, there's statistics like beverages consumed, stuff like that. Bestiary, they count how many times you kill enemies. They're like something that could be tracked, an achievement to have obtained, kill a certain amount of enemies. And even the med bay, it can track how many times you've gone down.
I do believe those stats are in your KPI terminal. That's where you find stats and milestones. I think it has those stats in it. I'm
Probably,
not sure.
But that was just kind of like lost space. And also, they can always just make up achievements, right? They can just implement them. But point is they are tracking so many of the things you do. Everything that how you play the game is being numbered, right? Like like things that you do with achievements, like missions you do, the beers consumed, like amount of times you passed out while drunk. All of this is numbered, and yet it does nothing really at all. Like it gives you some perks and gives you some gamer points or whatever they are, and it shows up on the med bay, and that's about it, right? Meanwhile, they could implement them as cosmetics, which would allow a whole new layer of like customization and playing the game to how you want, and it being visually seeable. Like, for instance, I'm going to kind of, with the earn silver promotions, I'm going to kind of just show how they could implement that as a cosmetic.
Or could I say something quickly about milestones?
Sure.
And how that would translate to earning cosmetics from a milestone. First of all, you want the point here is that these cosmetics will be specific to the achievement, and that's how we achieve that individualism. But when it comes to the milestones themselves, I have a question that I have an answer for, of what stage of the milestone you get that cosmetic. My idea is I would have it so that there would be another stage of every milestone that's sort of much more extreme in the amount you have to do. It's probably more than like all of the previous stages put together, and the reward for that is the associated cosmetic. And it's probably quite a bit more than you would have to do. Like Swarmageddon's, I'm not sure what stage this is at, but if you do 5, I'd say for the cosmetic, the milestone that gives you cosmetic, you'd have to do at least 50, I think. To show that you're a Swarmageddon player.
And I mean that would also kind of keep those things around, because a lot of the milestones disappear. They're gone. But if you had to get up to like 50 of them, then you were really like,
what the hell? You find someone with a blank. There's none there.
Yeah, you're like, Jesus Christ! You've done 50 industrial sabotages. You madman.
That's someone that you fear. Also, why isn't there a milestone for doing double warnings? It's because you're not supposed to be encouraged to do those. But I believe in the cosmetic associated with doing double warnings. You don't need to reward perk points for that, but a cosmetic.
Is that not a stat?
No.
Right. Well, thing is, these are the kind of things. Like, obviously, they keep track of everything, but they don't keep track of everything, at least visually, or maybe even in game. But I think if they added a cosmetic reward to these things, they could actually put more effort into it, and it will be a more rewarding experience for everyone involved. And yeah, I think now should we go through some examples? Because the
reward that you did, knowing that you did something difficult, isn't always going to be enough. It's just that.
I think
it's not a reasoning that can be given. It's just a reasoning that exists.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you do gain the joy of simply doing it, let alone I feel like you would appreciate being able to visually show everyone that you did that. You know what I mean? Like, if you somehow did a mission in like less than 5 minutes, and you got some like visual reward for that, like some sort of speed related cosmetic, you would feel pretty damn cool, right? And you would actually strive to do that a lot more if you weren't the type of player that wanted to do missions quicker, like stuff like that.
I like the idea of one where there's a reward for doing every different combination of double warnings.
That would be fun, yeah. And they could just do fun things like that, and you don't have to do them, but you can. It's something to strive for, even after you've completed everything in the game.
The point is that not everyone would do everything.
Yeah, but
people do the things that they want to do,
yeah,
and that shows in these cosmetics.
Yeah, and so,
which are
So obviously, for example, currently, if they were to add actual achievements as the achievements, maybe the current cosmetics could be armor skins, a silver armor skin, or a headgear, silver headgear. Assuming that they'll just do something silver, considering the silver promotions. But yeah, some sort of reward that is tied to what's already in the game, right? Silver skin for your armor, silver beard, everything that's already here, right? That could always be an option. They don't have to add any new cosmetic areas. But because I had some room in my format, I've got 3 spaces, and I'm going to use them to pitch these kind of ideas for achievement-based rewards. Maybe they're an individual icon slot or slots, such as badges. Harry likes the badges idea. I know that.
I love badges idea. He came up with a really good one.
Yeah. Well, you just cut the icon they made and stick it on your dwarf, right? Like if they went for these achievements,
you'd be able to put it anywhere you want on your that isn't hair or flesh. You can put it on your armor, on your helmet.
Because that's my
and as many badges as you can as well. You could cover yourself in them. Is my idea if you wanted to.
Well, I think but like because I was wondering, because some skins, they vary on like actual coverage of body, right, and how much stuff they kind of have. So badges could be like some sort of like thing that they kind of add on to any armor in a certain area.
Maybe if you want to stop people from going too nuts, you could restrict it to just primary, like areas of armor that use primary colors and secondary colors, like the undersuit and the main piece of the armor. Like maybe they. I wouldn't be mad if you couldn't stick like 100 badges on the pipes of Driller's armor or something.
I think.
But the ability to put them in different places means that literally anyone who uses a badge is probably going to be technically different from anyone else who uses a badge, because they're always going to be in slightly different places.
Yeah, and not to mention, depending on how many achievement-based things they add, how many badges will be around. But this is like, I mean, obviously with that there is quite a bit more effort than I thought, but literally badges are simple icons that could just be stuck onto a dwarf, right? There's
I
no
sort of like the
real
idea of it being slightly elevated. It's not just painted in like 2D on the armor. It's like a slight elevation, so it is a 3D piece, but it's just like the side of it can just be grey. It's just slightly elevated off your armor.
Yeah, like it's just like a very simple thing kind of put on, which would immediately add some form of individualism to a dwarf. Admittedly, it probably won't be the best looking one or the nicest one, but it's a option, which is quite.
I think it's the best one.
Well, don't say that now because we've got a couple more to go. Titles, which is basically, I'm not sure how this would be a thing, but with titles, they are irrelevant. I don't even know why they're in the game, right? So maybe we bring them back visually, and so when you join a game, your title appears, and it is tied to your achievements.
Maybe, well, we need to consider where your title would be shown. So, say in game, in the bottom left, where you see everyone's icons, maybe not there, but in the space rig, the fact that you can't see the players' titles in the space rig isn't weird, considering that most people do have the same title. But that's something you would change.
I feel
you see titles,
or maybe like when people join, it pops up in the bottom left. Like for this example, once again, I just took the name of the achievement, Pro Team Cursed Cats, which is my gamer tag, and that would like pop up as you come in. Just basically, just kind of push a title, which maybe if the title was representing like a nitro miner or something like that, then maybe you could argue that it would help in that they know that you'll be the one mining the nitro or some bullshit like that, right? Like just something there.
To sort of simplify how this would work in terms of how you pick your title. Every title that you get is unlocked now as an item. It would have to be that way, and that includes all the ones you get just for leveling up, like Greenbeard, which actually isn't the first title. I think the first one's Recruit. So Greenbeard would be unlocked, this one you could pick, and you would pick it. You go into the wardrobe and you click on the title. That information is
it'll be like a victory
so,
move, I guess.
But now you can,
like, it'd just be
but now
like
you can just click on your title and it will open up the list for you to pick from. It wouldn't be that hard to implement.
Yeah. And it would actually validate titles and give them interesting things about them. And I don't know, it's another one of the simple things, because at that point it's only really text, but it's just something. Just a little something that adds more character to how you play the game and your dwarves. But I think approaching a bit more effort and wild stuff, straight up accessories. This is like...
Hold on, sorry. Just to the titles, I need to give an example, right?
Alright.
Just to bring you over to my side. Say you kill... I can't remember how many dreadnoughts I've killed. I think it's actually not... I can look. Dreadnoughts. Okay, I've killed 712. Alright, that's fine. I've been playing for a while. Say you kill 750 or 500. You can now pick for your title, Judge Dredd.
Do you really like that?
Convinced... I do. I would pick it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And something like that would be like a really nice thing to have the option to do. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be very pleasant to have that extra level of cosmetic value. Your title, your dwarf is Judge Dredd kind of thing, although they probably get sued. Point is...
well, no, because Judge Dredd is spelled D-R-E-D-D instead of how you actually spell Dredd. That's what you spell Dredd correctly in this instance.
Right.
Avoiding copyright claims.
Fair enough. So yeah,
kill that 1,000 menaces. You can call yourself the Menace.
Yeah, point is, there's so many different ways, and the varying amounts of implementation that it can have is up to the developers. But it's just something extra.
One more. We'll move on.
My God.
One more. kill. Okay, how many oppressors have I killed? I killed 3,000. All right, kill 2,500 oppressors. You could call yourself the Liberator.
Yeah. Point is,
There you
it's
go.
so easy,
I think that's convincing
and
enough.
they would be so cool. I mean, maybe having it always be there in the bottom left might be a bit too much, but that's also not bad. Point is, I want them to be visual to the other players at the very least. If you're gonna like do that,
Shellbacks translates to Lobster Hunter.
yeah,
Betsy Wrangler. You see, there's a lot of potential.
there is
what I'm
a metric fuck ton of potential. But with accessories, this is going to be a lot more visually impactful things, and this is less so because I think this achievement isn't that big. But just a silver star, like a sheriff's badge that's silver, just goes on your chest, right? That for
So
this
just
one.
so just a badge.
Well, yeah, but also no, because the accessories are more 3D physical things that vary as to where they go. With
So
my
maybe
idea,
not a badge then. Maybe like a glyphid skull that you strap onto your shoulder.
well, yeah, but that doesn't accurately represent the pro team thing. I'm literally thinking like for this single achievement, this is my example of what I would do. Is just a sheriff's silver badge, and for the golden team, you get a golden badge, like a sheriff's badge, which is more 3D and more visually different than badges, which I would literally think is just going to be an icon stuck on. But yeah, and then if you were to kill 100 dreadnoughts, you get like a dreadnought backpack or something like that. It's like a decapitated head slung around your back, or just some big visual things that represent certain achievements, which I think will be pretty interesting. If you've killed like 300 loot bugs, then you have a loot bug purse, or like, on your side, or something like that. Like 3D visual actual things is accessories, in my opinion and my mind, which is it's one of the more wild card ones, but it's also one of the more visually fulfilling ones that you would literally immediately be able to tell, oh, this guy's got something, if they they have something equipped like that. But yeah, at that point, kind of achievement based things kind of falls off, and now these two are just some extra ideas I've had to fill these spaces.
Well, frankly, the accessories thing strikes me more as something that would be just a new cosmetic type.
A new cosmetic type.
That would be in the normal realm of things. Like,
yeah.
I pictured it as adding like pouches and like sashes and stuff to your armor.
Yeah, just little things extra that pop out, like shoulder pads and stuff like that. Like just things that kind of like add to your silhouette, I guess, would probably be the best way to put accessories. Meanwhile, some of these other ideas don't do that. They do some other things.
Don't do makeup,
such as
horrible.
Makeup for a pretty dwarf. So you know how, like, if you don't want to use beards or like facial hair or like helmets, your dwarf looks absolutely fucking abysmal, right? Maybe makeup. You know what I mean? Maybe, or like, and this is also to do with the eye thing. Like when I mentioned like the goggles or scars, maybe they have like eye makeup, which could be not as inherently like feminine makeup, but like war paint, stuff like that. So you have more visual goings on as far as the eyes are concerned, and you could use makeup for it, or you could use makeup to give him lipstick. Either or, really, it's just an idea. An idea that I thought of randomly and I'm actually going kind of fond of is victory effects, which also I guess, yeah, but like when you're doing your victory move at the end, which are already pretty nice things, you know what I mean, like they're quite individualistic, they're pretty funky fun. But now they have like an effect behind them, which gives them, I don't know, something else. Like I chose love hearts for this one because it would work well with the kisses.
Can I improve this idea tenfold just like immediately?
Sure.
Salute effects.
Maybe, yeah.
I tried to think of other places where you could put these effects, and that's the only one that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it just like when you
have while saluting.
Yeah, when you like rock and stone, or when you, I guess, victory moves, a sort of particle effect kind of burst out of you, and that could just add a little something, a little bit of a jazz, confetti, hearts. I mean, I was thinking like glyphid explodings, like kind of like.
Once again, this strikes me more as one that would be in the normal cosmetic attainment methods.
Yeah. I mean, those it kind of did just become what to fill these areas with, but I do legitimately believe that achievement-based cosmetics would make the game more fun.
Yeah,
like people,
and I think the badges and titles support that the most.
Yeah,
out of these
people that have kind of become aimless with just they've done everything would suddenly have a new avenue of playing the games in a way they never thought of and being rewarded for the ways that they do. It would just add a lot to the game, and whichever form they add them, I'll be fine with as long as they add them. But here are some ideas for them, and some other ideas for these areas of gaps that I've kind of left. And that's those that one.
At the end, do you mind if I just do a bunch of title ideas?
Sure.
If you just want to rant about, not rant, but sort of just see where that goes.
But and next one, which is not really as big as those other points, but uncolorable hats, or however we phrased it earlier. These ones, this one they added, the white one, the scorpion mask, which I forgot about.
Headwear that doesn't use the equipped paint job.
Yeah, that just straight ignores
shouldn't exist.
The style you're going for. I get that they can be used, right? With the green, you can use them on Gunner. With the white, you can use them with Regal Abyss or whatever. And the other headgear I found with the biker helmet, you could use these, of course you can, right? But why are they limiting themselves to only certain things? Why? Stop it.
That one in the bottom right, now this introduced an important point. That's a very specific one. That's meant to look kind of like Hulk Hogan's hat. Or at least it's a very specific not paint job, but colour scheme. So I would propose that they really should have it so that you'd need to be able to equip different paint jobs for your headwear, for your armor. Anything that can use a paint job, you should be able to pick its own paint job for it, and that means default ones as well. So the scorpion mask would have a default paint job where it would look like that, but you could also pick others. I feel that's a necessary component of this idea.
Yeah. And as it's why I just let it match. Point is, stop with the restricting of cosmetics. It's bad. Cut it out. And to kind of just final point, it's been done before. They have torn apart beards. I mean, obviously this was a while ago, and this was when they were kind of just doing things for the sake of it, right? They have to think more and act carefully now, right? But they are not against tearing apart cosmetics to increase the way you can customize, right? It's more than possible for them to decide to do this. So this is why I'm not afraid to pitch this idea, because it's possible. Especially considering they called it Vanity 2.0. This could be Vanity 3.0, and it'll be even better than before. And I trust that they could probably do it better than I did it. Point is, thank you for watching. I, as much as I don't think this is anywhere near urgent or important, I think it is something that we will feel for a long while, especially the cluttering of the headgear. That is an issue that's only going to get worse and worse and worse.
It's urgent that you like and subscribe.
Yeah, leave your thoughts and comments in the comments and thoughts. Like and subscribe. Did you know actually that like and subscribe is actually the same as rocking and stoning? So if you want to rock and stone, you need to like and subscribe, or you're not really covered over.
You can't do just one of them either, because you can't just rock, you can't just stone. You have to do both.
You have to do both, and you also have to rock and stone, and you also have to leave your thoughts in the comments. And this is a threat now.
If you want to just stone us, that's probably the better of the two. Well, that doesn't sound very friendly.
Yeah, we would much rather you stone us than rock us. Actually, I mean, rock's not bad. Point is, do both.
For those about to rock and stone, we salute you.
Yeah, and now
that probably explains
why
my voice is fucked.
And now I think Harry wants to go on about a bunch of titles. So,
kill 100 caretakers. You can be the janitor or Hell's janitor. I don't know. Stab a vine. I like the idea of having to do with samurais or something, like the hollow ninja or something, or just butcher because there's knives. Obviously, tyrant weeds. Kill 100 tyrant weeds. You're the weed whacker. It's easy, easy one. Younglings. Kiro no younglings. I like the idea of having something to do with Anakin Skywalker because he killed all those younglings. You could go for some simple stuff. Like, I don't think it's a bad idea where you can just where the name sort of lends itself to that, because the creature names always have the species before it. So an Edo-site shocker isn't just a shocker. So I think if you kill enough shockers, you should just call yourself a shocker. because the Nados-like part wouldn't be there, obviously. And then there's Nados-like Cave Cruiser, which actually doesn't display how many things you've killed, but I want to be like the cruiser. Brundle. So the Mactera Brundle is based on that film with Jeff Goldblum, the Fly. The reference to that, the Brundle Fly. So if you could call yourself Jeff Goldblum, that'd be great. Well, the Crassus is an interesting one. So you kill 100 Crassus detonators. What's better? Are you General Crassus, as he's named after, or are you King Midas? I don't know. Maybe King Midas should be a gold mining related one.
I think maybe I think with titles and how simple they are. I think you can have multiple levels. Very much, you could have King Midas if you kill 50, or Crassus when you kill 50, and King Midas further on.
Maybe King Midas is better if you like mined like 1 million gold or something. And then General Crassus is actually for killing the Crassus detonators.
If mining like 100,000 gold, you're a gold digger.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So these are my ideas. Nemesis is an interesting one because I feel like you wouldn't want to just call yourself Nemesis.
You would want to probably have some what's it?
Protagonist.
No, you're gonna have the zombie one that has a Nemesis as being the villain. It's a zombie game, which has the Nemesis as like a big hulking zombie that chases after you. I've forgotten what it's called. It's really annoying me. There's quite a lot of them. Resident Evil. It's probably some Resident Evil Easter eggs, not Easter eggs, but like like some of the characters in that, I guess, for killing the Nemesis a bunch of times, which would make sense as much as the Jeff Goldblum one would. But yeah, point is, it's not that hard to think of titles. So if they're going to do any of them, titles would be nice.
I'd love to call myself a cave angel, although that does mean you've killed 100 cave angels. Probably not really.
Probably cave devil is probably then more accurate. And then if you kill like 10,000 of them, you're cave Lucifer.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Point is,
Festiflees, you can become exterminator. Obviously, like a bug exterminator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point is,
see.
Untapped potential, ladies and gentlemen. Untapped potential.
Trawler. If you kill 1,000 trawlers, you can refer to yourself as